Okay, cool. So I think
You got us now?
yeah, you got us. All right, so let's go. Jimmy, pick back up.
I have no
But
idea
you
where I would
heard
stop.
anything
All
before?
right. So
Oh no,
look,
I was
look.
talking.
Well,
I
let's
was
let's
talking
just
about.
start like this. Lloyd just got in. We've been having technical difficulties this morning. So welcome, Lloyd. The other Lloyd, Mr. Ringgold, you're not out of the woods because Lloyd just showed up. So we're just gonna start from here. So thanks to everybody in the chat. Shout out to Chris Smith. Shout out to Mary. Shout out to Vegas Up Now. Shout out to Bonafide. Appreciate all you guys for coming in, and everybody else. If I missed anybody else, we appreciate you for sticking with us. And we're just gonna go ahead from there. So Jimmy, you could pick back up with a
All
question, or
right,
you want
so
me to start? I can start.
well, no, we're in the midst
All
of
right.
talking about my affinity for Mr. Ringgold's father because we both took 8 years to get through college. I went to USC, came from very meager beginnings, as most of us have, and ended up having to work my way through college. So, as a lot of people do, and so I say that. I also wanted to comment that the other comment that you had made in developing your skills was time management, and that is such a critical
Hang on,
skill.
hang on,
When
hang on.
we go out and speak with companies, we have an oats program where we teach them how to plan each day and how to celebrate their wins at the beginning of the day, plan the day, accomplish what you intended to, hopefully maybe more, and then relish that which you accomplished during the day. So thank you for your comment on both of those. Um, and I'm gonna give you a chance to speak, Lloyd. Or let's see, Mr. Dix. um, so Lloyd, go ahead and ask your question. I'm still working
I have
your stuff.
no idea what's going on. What happened, Jimmy?
You took Lloyd off screen.
No, you're on screen, but right now I got some funny. There he goes. Lloyd's on screen.
Okay, I just handed it over to Lloyd, but I'm not seeing him.
Lloyd. Sorry, there he is, and he's on mute.
Back
Go
at
ahead,
you.
Lloyd.
This is this is
This
going
is this
to
is a circus this morning.
this is going to get a little confusing. Um, Lloyd, first off, or should I say, Colonel, thank you very much for your service and for everything that went with it. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Um, read two quotes that you had written that resonated with me, and was wondering if you would talk about this. The first was, "It's not the skills or the strategy; it's the mindset that makes the leader." And I just love that. I've always believed you hire for mindset. If the person has the right mindset, you can teach them whatever it is that they need to know. Can you explain that? Explain what you mean by that?
Sure. And I thank you for bringing that up. I think the most important thing is between your ears, and that's 6 inches between your ears, and that's your brain. As you said, I can teach people skills, but there's certain things that if you don't have the right mindset, you're not going to achieve anything. And you can look at all aspects of life in that, whether it be in sports, whether it be in entertainment, whether it be at, say, looking at millionaires or billionaires, whether you look at a person that has overcome addiction. It is a mindset, it is a change. Are there other things that influence that? Of course, there are other things that influence that. But everything's got to start with you, and with you saying, hey, I'm downright tired of being tired, and I've made my mind up that I'm going to make a change. When that happens, that's when the light comes on. And if you want something bad enough, as you well know, you'll go through hell or high water to get it. But it all starts up here.
My second question was about another thing that you had said, which again just resonated with me, and I think that this is particularly true in the armed forces, where your life literally depends on this. But the quote was, "Success isn't just about what you know; it's about who's got your back." And I'm not only curious to know about what brought you to that, but what was the evolution? What happened that caused you to believe that?
Oh, I can give a whole bunch of different examples in my life where, someone has had my back, whether it be at war, whether it be on the football team, whether it be in academics. I was just having a conversation with a person about self-made men, and I appreciate, that self-made man. But when we all think about it, whether you're self-made or not, somebody helped you get there. Somebody had your back. Who was that? And we can argue whether that was a book that you read, somebody wrote a book that helped you change maybe your mindset or get to where you're going to go, or maybe it was the good man upstairs. The bottom line, though, is that you have to have, in my humble opinion, to succeed, you have to have help. And we can argue about what type of help that is, whether that be my financial, whether that might be educational, whatever this fact might be. You got to have a wingman. And here's what I know for a fact. You can go fast by yourself or you can go far with a team. And I humbly believe that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Was there one particular person in your life who mentored you, who you can attribute all of this to, that what you've learned?
No, sir. I have many people who have contributed to the things that I've learned. I already gave a few. Miss Ronnie Spilton, Coach Paul, who helped me get ready to be at the academy so I could take the physical stuff off the list and just worry about the mental stuff. My dad, several leaders who I had, which is Major General Floyd Carpenter. Just the list goes on. There's so many people who have influenced me or who have taken a little bit from each person who helped shape who I am today.
Wow, that's great. And I apologize due to the sound problems and stuff. We're rapidly running out of time, and I want to give some time to Jimmy and Kobe to ask what hasn't been asked. So for me personally, I need your help. I've been trying to change the name of the podcast, and I've come up with a few. Great employees matter as long as they are named Lloyd.
Like that one.
Here we go with the softball questions, Lloyd. I told you.
Anyone named Lloyd is automatically smarter than everyone else.
Could be.
And people named Lloyd are the only ones that matter.
I like those. However, try to be a bit more humble. How about people named Lloyd are actually the most funny? How about that one?
We could go with that one as kind of a secondary thing, after we've gotten to the other ones. Okay. No, those were actually just the things I needed help for. As Kobe alluded to, I have my softball questions now. I noticed that you have a top secret clearance. So I want to know, was the moon landing fake? Are there really aliens in Area 51? And is the Epstein list real or not?
Oh my.
All right. So you ready for your answer?
I am.
If I told you, I'd have to kill you. So there you go.
That's what top secret clearance does for you.
Yes, indeed.
I'll pass it back to you, gentlemen.
Yeah, you actually made him drop the mic. I've never seen Lloyd drop the mic before. I don't know about you, Jimmy, but he dropped the mic on that one. So I'm going to take it back, man. We do a lot with employees, and we like to talk about that, and we like to coach on that, and to give some advice. And so you've been part of a lot of teams, big, small teams. And so tell me, from corporate to entrepreneurial, what do you believe makes a great employee?
What makes a great employee? I would tell you someone who's coachable, somebody who's hungry, and somebody who is willing to do the work. I think that those three things make a great employee.
That's valuable. And so what do you think for the journey of an employee, whether you're going into entrepreneurship or not, because I know you are an entrepreneur and you have your own business.
Yes.
And which means you probably have employees as well.
Yes.
So you have to have a way to be able to lead them in the proper way. What are some of the biggest mistakes small business owners makes when it comes to motivating their employees?
I think that, we think about all the big stuff, money, time off, and those things are all important. But really what needs to be thought about is what is the love language of that employee? For some employees, they just want to know that you appreciate them. They just want to thank you, acknowledge that they did something. For other employees, they're motivated by a little bit of money. Maybe they made a bonus or something. For other employees, maybe it's an intangible. I needed help with my kid in school, or I needed a recommendation. The bottom line is you just need to figure out what is the employee's love language, because employees, in my opinion, are much like athletes, i.e., or even kids. It's not a one-stop shop. It's not a cookie cutter approach. The goal of whether it be the coach, the teacher, or the employer is to get the best out of the employees. And so therefore, you must get to know them and find out what actually makes them tick. And I think that will go a long way.
Wow. So how do you define success, not just for you, but for your team?
Success for my team, as far as I'm concerned, is seeing them succeed. And that is whatever it is their goal is. And for those that I work with, we have that conversation. We have a game plan interview. All right, what is it that they want? What do they want? Where are they trying to get to? And so we talk about that often, and we talk about it for a couple reasons. One, so that we can go ahead and celebrate their success. But number two, when things get hard, you got to remind them of what their goal was. Because again, if your want is big enough, you'll go through hell or high water to get it. But there are so many detractors out there, so many people who may tell you no, that sometimes you just need that reminder so you can get back up on that horse and keep riding.
Yeah, because it's hard right now. The environment is hard right now. What are you telling people that, like the employment environment is very difficult right now? I think the climate is changing, but I think it's changing back to normal, where you used to have a handshake from a manager to try to get a job and sit down with people and talk to people. I think it's going away from, the LinkedIns and the computer systems and going back to the people. What would you tell employees today in how to navigate and trying to sustain themselves in this type of market?
Well, sustainment goes along, in my humble opinion, it goes along with education. So if you are not reading and trying to be better at whatever your job is, there's no way for you to sustain. I might as well just pass you over and get the latest shiny penny that just came out, because they've learned the latest on what's going on. I think that the way that you go ahead and show that you're a valuable member of the team is that you learn from your mistakes and you're continually trying to improve, however that might be, through either the school of hard knocks or through reading or whatever the case may be.
How valuable do you think mentors are?
There's no price. It's like American Express, don't leave home without it. All right. And again, why would you want to create something from scratch? Why not go and talk to someone who's actually done what you want to do, so that they can help smooth out some of those bumps, so that you don't have to go run into the same things that they ran into? It only makes sense. It's a good use of your time.
Yeah. Jimmy.
Well, based on what you've said so far, and I'm sure the audience can come to this same observation, you are a results-driven leader. You have a passion for helping small businesses grow. You teach them how to build strong teams. You teach them how to solve complex problems, and you help them create workplace cultures that thrive, right?
Yes.
So in doing that, you started a company. You founded a company. You're the CEO of Gold Business Advantage.
Yes.
In researching that a little bit, you work directly with entrepreneurs and organizations, and you develop smart, scalable strategies for that business.
Yes.
Regardless of what the business is, you focus on that business. And in doing that, again, based on your answers, to some of the questions that we've asked, you make sure that you teach the business how to make sure that their employees feel valued, they're supported, and they're equipped to succeed. You had just mentioned that a lot of that is through goal setting and attainment. Do you believe that employees should have goals that are attainable, or should have goals that as they get close to attaining the goals, they elevate the goal to the next level?
Well, you can't move the goalpost. That's not fair. That's bullcrap.
He's a Dallas Cowboys
Jimmy
fan.
moves-
He has to move the goalpost.
Jimmy
Heck,
moves the
man.
goalposts on me all the time.
You said, look here, we set high but attainable goals. When they make that goal, you celebrate that, and then you talk about the next one. That's my opinion.
Okay.
We like that. We like that, actually.
Before I turn it over to Mr. Dix, who's not a Dallas Cowboys fan, Kobe, would you like to say anything about our sponsor today?
Oh, you caught me off guard.
I'm sorry,
Look,
but it's
I'm already clicked to Lloyd. Not ready for the sponsor yet, but I'll go ahead and get in there. We've been hanging out all day anyway, so let me just go ahead and pull it up. All right, so today's sponsor today is Podcast Excellence Academy. Let's see if I can get it on screen for you guys. It is on screen for you guys, I think. Yeah. So our sponsor today is Podcast Excellence Academy. If you're looking for podcast training, you want to monetize, whether you already have a podcast, starting about thinking of podcast, great community, great people. We help each other grow. We learn from each other. We have trainings every week. Those trainings are growing. I think I'm about to add another training on there. You can learn the tools that you need and just have great support in the community. That's, we check people at the door. So it's a safe community. You can grow there. You can ask your questions and you can actually get some results. So if you want to come and check that out, just click on the QR code on the screen. That will benefit one of our members inside of the community, because that's just how we roll. And you can go and check it out, see what it's about, and hopefully you come and join us. Back to Jimmy.
I'm going to pass it on to Lloyd.
I wanted to ask about the jobs that you've had and how you work in those kinds of demanding fields. Being a colonel in the Air Force is extremely demanding. You literally have people's lives in your hand. And how are you able to deal with the mental toughness that's required for that?
Oh, that's a good question. How do you deal with the mental tough? I really think that most good leaders just understand that people are trying their best to do the things that you ask. And that for me personally, a lot of times if something fails, I look inside to see if I gave good direction. And maybe I didn't give good direction. And therefore I need to go back and either redirect, or maybe the person just didn't know how to do that thing. And therefore you have to teach. But I think that you have mental toughness by reflecting, by staying grounded. For me, staying grounded is chatting with God, reading my Bible. My family keeps me grounded. And those things allow me not to get too big-headed and to deal with the things that go on so that I can keep myself straight to lead others.
I absolutely love that answer. And I won't even talk about the irony of a colonel in the Air Force talking about staying grounded, because, but yeah.
I was trying not to laugh. Impossible.
And the thing that I loved about that answer in particular was when I asked you about keeping up the mental health. You didn't blame it on anybody else or anything. You said you looked inward to try to get the strength as to maybe you didn't explain it right, or maybe you didn't have it. And I think that that is really important. I think that a lot of people don't take responsibility for their own actions or for what they are doing, and are too quick to blame somebody else. Did you find a lot of that in the service, or were people willing to take responsibility?
I felt that people were willing to take responsibility for what goes on. I mean, every organization is the same. You have a small group, small seed, if you will, that just places the blame. Oh, woe is me. But overall, I felt that my military family was gung ho on getting whatever it is that we needed to be done. They found a way to get it done, and I can't tell you how much I love that, and that unfortunately I have not always found that in my civilian dealings since being out of the Air Force.
Well, Lloyd, I have to tell you, in case of an actual military thing, you probably don't want me in your army because we'd lose. But I would love to work for you at any point in time. You have a great attitude, and you clearly understand what it takes to motivate people and to get them to do what they need to do. And just exceptional. It really comes through that we can do that. I'll pass it on back to you guys in the studio.
Sir, thank you so much for that. That was very kind.
All right. Jimmy?
You or me?
You go ahead, Jimmy.
Okay. Mr. Ringgold, so a strong leader tends not to be one-dimensional, meaning that they're not so focused on only their business that they forget to pay attention to family. They forget to pay attention to friends. They forget to pay attention to community. And I know that you are deeply engaged in the community. So I know you mentor couples
Yes.
through Grace Marriage.
Yes.
And that you contribute to our local youth here in Las Vegas through a organization called Leadership Las Vegas. So would you like to speak to either or both of those?
Sure. When you talk about the youth, I've been involved in different things over the years. I have a soft spot for both veterans and children. So I, at one time, was in a group called Awana, which is from 2 Timothy 2:15. All workmen are not ashamed. It was a nonprofit that churches who wanted to run this program could, taking kids from basically kindergarten all the way up through seniors in high school. What it did is they broke down the hour and a half to 30 minutes of small group time, which would have been learning verses or Bible story, whatever the case may be. 30 minutes of group time, which could be a lecture, whatever teachings you want to do there, and 30 minutes of gate time because kids need to blow off steam. The great thing about it was that through that program, kids could actually earn college credits. They got a chance to go and compete with other kids from other churches in something called Awana Games. And I just thought it was just a complete package of blending both academics and learning, hiding God's word in your heart, along with some physical activity. So I thought it was fantastic. In that same vein, when I went to Leadership Las Vegas, that is a class that is sponsored by the Vegas Chamber. So I'm in the class of 2014, best you've ever seen. Shout out to all my friends from 2014 anyways. But we had a project where we did hydroponics for a school. And that was just nice, allowing them to grow different herbs and whatnot, and then be able to use those herbs. So that was fantastic, and teaching the kids all about that. So that was a fun project. As far as Grace Marriage goes, that's at a church that I go to called Canyon Ridge on Jones and Lone Mountain. We basically meet 4 times a year, and we really aren't teachers as much as we're table moderators in the fact that we have a curriculum that's done already. We go over that curriculum, and then people get a chance to chat. Couples get a chance to talk about the things that they just read or things that they just heard. And then we come back as a group and talk about them. So, we're more of giving you, I would say, different tactics or different things to make your marriage better. And we can all use that.
Absolutely. And I guess as far as success, does that program result in the man, the male in the marriage, ever being right?
I knew it. I did not take my bath this time, bro.
Yeah, he tried to set me up on that one. Look here, man.
I already knew where it was going.
Hey, look here. I'll say this. Everybody's right once in a while. How about that?
Oh, yeah. See, I like how he thinks because my wife is listening.
Nice.
So, oh yeah, I'll come in. So, but yeah, my wife's listening. So, baby, we good, right? Yeah, I listen to everything. I do everything right. I've been married a couple of years, so I'm trying to keep it that way.
There you go.
Anyway, I want to go back to some questions that I have for you. You've been active with Grace Marriage and Leadership Las Vegas. Why is community work so important to you in what you do in today's world?
Because in my opinion, we're put on this earth to give back. That's very near and dear to me. It's nice that you have all these great things, that you've been blessed. Maybe you have a job, maybe you have a car, maybe you have this or that. But what about those that don't?
And what do you say to those that don't? What do you say to the person that's having a hard time, that's struggling in life, that has nowhere to that go, or that don't know what to look for? What do you say to that person?
I would tell you that there's nothing specific to be said, because again, back to what we talked about before, when I have the opportunity, I like to try to talk to that person and see what's going on. And then from there, maybe to offer some words of encouragement. I think that the worst thing that we could do to anybody is to take away their hope. So if you can help out, and I think that people miss just the small things in life that people can do. So for example, maybe you opening up the door and holding it for somebody to walk through made their day. Maybe saying hello to somebody who's feeling lonely made their day. Somebody on the side of the road that's holding up a sign, maybe they needed $1 or a person to talk to or a cup of water. Make their day. I think that oftentimes people want to do all these grandiose things, which, oh, by the way, I can appreciate and are needed. Mm-hmm. But don't forget the little things that everybody can do. That many of these things don't cost anything, just to be nice to everybody. Because here's my thought. If we are all kinder and gentler towards each other, wouldn't the world be a better place?
Yeah, that's a fact. So I agree with that 100%. So looking back, let me ask you like this. Looking back, what's the one lesson you had to learn the hard way, but you're grateful that you learned it the hard way?
My dad said that there's a thin line between confidence and cocky. And I have to tell you that I have teetered on the cocky side probably more than I should have. And many times when I was on that side, things did not go my way. So I would just say that there's nothing wrong with being confident about what you're doing, but never be afraid to listen to someone tell you about things that are going on. I mean, all the information that you get, you have to evaluate. You're not going to take everything that you get. But here's something that my dad told me in that conversation about confidence and cocky. My dad said, you can learn something from a fool. And when my dad said that, I'm like, what is this old man talking about? He has lost it. And he said, well, son, sometimes you learn what not to do versus what to do. And I said, wow.
Yeah, that's a fact.
So for me, that was very profound.
Yeah. Okay. Jimmy.
Let's see. We are at the 3/4 mark, and we have a segment of our show which we call shameless self-promotion. And we actually didn't,
he likes that one.
We didn't get much of a chance to really go into Gold Business Advantage, the company of which you're the CEO of.
Yes.
So here's an opportunity for you to talk more deeply about that and to share with our audience how they can contact you if they have questions about Gold Business Advantage, and how do they get in touch with you, your website, all that sort of stuff. So.
Sure. Well, thank you very much. So Gold Business Advantage started because I do really enjoy helping people. Okay. And so anytime that I can go ahead and share my knowledge in hopes to help a business, because a lot of businesses are out here struggling these days, and I want to go ahead and do that. And when I talk about helping businesses, again, it can be anything from trying to get the employees straight, to taking a look at what our advertising dynamics are, to something as simple as, hey, what makes me different from somebody else? Or how much does it cost to produce this widget? Or how am I advertising? So any of those things I go ahead and do. Note that I am sponsored by a company, if you will, called Legal Shield. And what that allows me to do is a lot of these small businesses don't have any access to legal help. Oftentimes people go to Chat GPT or they look on Google. And I say, that's great if that's what you have to do. But remember this, neither Chat GPT or Google pass the bar. So wouldn't it be nice to go ahead and talk to a lawyer? And oftentimes they tell me, yeah, it would be. Do you think I made the money? And I said, no, you're not. But it's only because you don't know that there's a way for you to get legal advice on a monthly basis versus an hourly basis.
Yeah,
So
that's powerful.
So there you go. So to go ahead and get hold of me, I can be reached via my website, which is Gold Biz Advantage, which is GOLD Biz BIZ Advantage ADV.com. Or you can feel free to give me a call. My number is 702-600-7116. If there's anything I can do to help, please give me a holler. If I don't know the answer, as the saying goes, I got a guy. I'll find the answer for you.
I love that. I'm very familiar with Legal Shield and have known of them in that industry going back to the early 70s. It's a great product. It's a great service. Maybe we should have Legal Shield be a sponsor of our show.
There we go. There we go.
But yeah, I can attest that is a great organization, and therefore that means that Gold Business Advantage is a great organization. So is there anything else that you'd like to say to our audience, again, in this shameless self-promotion portion of our show?
And I'm going to tell you that nothing else in my shameless self-promotion am I going to say. Again, I just want to reach out again to everybody and talk about the great job that you guys do and the yeoman's work in trying to bring information to folks, not just any information, but information they could use, whether it be on a short-term basis or a long-term basis, and just appreciate the work that you guys are doing. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Lloyd, you have other questions or anything else to say to Mr. Ringgold?
Yeah, I just, as I'm sitting here listening to everything that has been said, and that was a great question, Kobe, a really, really good question. I was trying to figure out how to describe our guest, and I came up with leadership. I was thinking in the beginning, it was leadership with compassion, because what an incredibly compassionate individual. And then I decided, no, it's not leadership with compassion. It's leadership through compassion. And it's just, dealing with how you explain mental health, dealing with the team, dealing with how you prop up the employees and get them all done. And just, if you could give a word to the audience, you already talked about the importance of maybe just saying hello and understanding what people are going through. What should the audience remember or take away to help them get it?
Something, here's what the word is: nice. I would say just be nice. And I told somebody the world would be a better place if everybody was just nice. And somebody looked at me, it's not that easy. I said, why isn't it?
Because they weren't being nice right there. It's not that easy.
Yeah. I said,
just be nice.
Exactly. We were talking earlier about movies, and I like the movie Roadhouse. And I don't know if you remember Patrick Swayze talking about whatever you do, just be nice. So there you go. That's my thing.
I love it. I love it. Jimmy.
Kobe, I'm going to...
okay, so we taking it out?
If we're going to take it out, then I'm going to jump in.
Jump in. Yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to jump in. I want to say, Lloyd, that you are living proof that great businesses are built by growing great people. That's what you shared with us today. You're very focused on helping companies build great employees, and our moniker, great employees matter. So thank you for what you do for the world, what you do for the small business community in particular, and for the opportunity that you give to individuals and small businesses through your affiliations. And I can't thank you enough for being on our show. It was relatively short notice. Normally we book out a month, up to 6 months ahead, and you came in on 2 weeks notice. So So we appreciate that. We appreciate everything that you've shared with us today. We appreciate your journey. We appreciate your faith-based approach to life in general. And so thank you.
My
Lloyd?
pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's my turn now.
Oh.
You see how he skips me just right in front of everybody, Lloyd? You see how he does me, right? So I wanted to add on first. I want to say thank you to all of the guests. Thanks for your patience. We had a Chris Smith sighting. What's up, Chris? Thank you for coming in. If you don't know him, go check him out. Leave your link in the post. He's a motivational speaker. He'll get in that tail if you need him to. So check him out. Great motivation. We got Bonafide in the house. Up Vegas up now in the house. My wife with the last comment. She said she's working on it, being nice. So thank you. She's working on that. That's very powerful. So you actually made her comment. But thanks to everybody that came into the room. Thanks for your patience. We're a work in progress. We're authentic. This is Great Employees Matter. Remember, always be a gym. Greatness, excellence, motivation. Every week, 2:00 Tuesday. We'll see you next week. Thank you.
Did you give Miss